Hey, fantasy degenerates! It is week 8, and this week, there's a lot that's happened in our league. It's logjam week. It's wieners and whitey tidies week. We have a first place, one game ahead of 7 people at 4-3, and the bottom feeders you have Kyle and Brent at 2-4, only 2 games out of playoff contention. Waylon, tell the fans what we're doing this week.
Well, due to the what we call the log jam, we're going to do pretender and contender for the playoffs. We're going to tell our top 6 pretenders and our top 6 contenders. So we'll go ahead and begin with the pretenders this week, and we'll start off by Mr. Brent Berry. Brent, you are a pretender due to Russell Wilson is not a real quarterback, and basically Martin just took advantage of you and wasted a draft pick. And you wasted his draft pick. So,
Brent, not much to say about your team. You're a pretender. 2014, maybe that would be your year, buddy.
Yeah, Big Brown, you're not riding again. I'm sorry.
He ain't riding ever again.
Pretender status. Nice trade with Doug Martin, though.
And then for our next pretender would have to be Carey. Carey, with Colin Kaepernick and Rice just really not producing. Bottom line, and I don't see Rice really picking it up, so I think that puts you in the pretender status.
She's trying hard with her team. She's got 5 people on her bench that are all on buys this week, so she's trying to make the most out of it. She's trying hard, and I love it. She's just not getting the production out of the certain players that she needs right now. Unfortunately, she's going to be on the outside looking in when it becomes the end of the season. Ty, what do you think about Carey?
Team P, I think you had a good learning curve this year, and you'll be back at it again next year as a contender. Not this year, though.
So we move on to Mr. Crotch Waffles, Mark Davey. Mark, you are a pretender. The Richardson trade has not worked out for you. I think the Colts have wasted a draft pick on that, and you have wasted a top spot in that. Also, you have some empty bench spots, so I put you at a pretender soon.
Mark, you got a great record right now, 4-3, really in contention, 1 game out of first place. But I don't think that your roster has the makeup that it needs to be for the longevity of this league. Todd made a good point last week. He called your team crotch awful. So, obviously starting some beef there. Maybe you can get revenge next week when you guys butt heads in week 9. Todd, what's your feelings on Mark's team?
I think next week, Mark, you'll be eating waffles out of my crotch.
And leaving syrup all over his beard.
A pretender, friend.
So we move on to Kyle. Kyle, you are a pretender. We've kept on telling you that, you have potential. Keep on shitting the bed. I think the problem is you've developed an addiction to fucking stone dog statues. So you're a pretender. Anyone who's pretending to fuck dog statues is a pretender.
It's kind of weird. Kyle, I'm sick and fucking tired of telling everybody how great your team is on paper. That's why we play it on the field. You don't really have what it takes to make the playoffs this year. You made a shit bomb trade with Strack. He picked up a couple guys off waivers. You're like, here's Hakeem Nicks on a silver platter. You're out, man. Todd, Kyle's thoughts.
Love your name. Still a pretender.
All right, so we move on to Lek. Lek, you are a pretender. However, I do think that you have the potential of moving into the more of the contender status because you do have Eddie Lacy, Drew Brees, and Mr. Johnson, receiver. So I think that you do have the potential in being a contender.
I don't see that. I think his Mr. Johnson isn't quite big enough for the playoff stage in our league. I think he's going to get, Drew Brees is going to carry him here and there. Mm-hmm. Calvin Johnson a little bit here and there. I don't know about Eddie Lacy. He's had a couple good games, but he's injury prone. I see John not making the playoffs. You're a pretender.
I think your Johnson's plenty big enough. I know from experience. But I still think you are a pretender, and I just don't think you're going to make the playoffs this year.
So Sutter now has crotch waffle syrup from Mark all over his face and John Leck sperm mixed into his beard. Gotta love it. So with that, we move on to Nick. Nick, you are, and I I think that this puts us into that cusp of who is a pretender, who's a contender, and there's small things that can either make or break your status. I do put you into the pretender just because with Forte, I think that he can potentially put you in the pretender, even into the top three with some increased points due to Cutler's absence.
But you still call him a pretender?
I'm telling you, it's tight. The whole league's 4-3. There's really, I have to put someone there. So
The guy to my right is on drugs. Nick, you're a contender. Don't let anybody tell you anything else. Yeah, I mean, you have Forte's having a career year. AJ Green is tried and true. And you have Stafford. Matt fucking Stafford is second in the league with fantasy points for the quarterback position behind Peyton Manning. Insane. They score 80 points a week for you. You're fine. You'll make it in.
Tell you what, Nick, you are 0.1 away from being a lot lower than you are, and I'm 0.1 away from being 5-2. So you are on the borderline of being contender pretender. You just barely squeaked by with that. I don't know. I think you might be a pretender for the playoffs.
All right.
So I'm still a little upset about that match.
Point
So-
one.
Yeah, fuck you, Patrick.
So move on to Robbie with the Dwayne Bowes. I also put Robbie right there on that cusp, just because the injury to Reggie Wayne, the inconsistencies of Peterson's mental health and Vic's physical health. I think that there's still a lot of question marks. One thing that Robbie does know is how to make good trades that benefits these teams and work the waiver. So that's why I do put him in the contender status for those things. So.
There's really two reasons. Like, I consider myself a bubble team, but there's two reasons why I call myself a contender. Well, three reasons. One, I'm extremely arrogant. Two, my schedule's super easy from here on out. And three, I forget what three is.
You're going to change your last name to Johnson, because anyone that changes their last name to Johnson's big.
That's true. I mean, I already have 5 wins, so I only need 2 or 3 more, and I'm good to go out of the next 6 games. It's fine.
And I'll fill in the blanks for you. You do have one of the easiest remaining schedules in the league, which I do think that's going to help you into that contender making the playoffs. So.
Todd, tell me what you feel about me right now. Make it real.
I love your name. Make it Dwayne on them Bows. So in my case,
How much do you love that name?
I sing it in the shower every morning.
How's
Make
it go?
it Dwayne on them both. Make it Dwayne on them both.
Don't be ashamed of that. I do the same thing.
Robbie, make it Dwayne. You are a contender this year.
So we'll move on to Kevin. Kevin, you do have a few holes that need to be filled.
Yeah, he does.
Cam Newton cannot fill all those holes for you, man. He led you to the championship last year. I'm not sure that he can do it again, but I am going to put you as a contender. Let's just see if he can fill all those holes like a.
Kevin, Cam Newton can't fill all your holes. I was texting you today and found out from you that you're cheating on Cam Newton with Marshawn Lynch. You are developing a giant man crush on him. You think he's the best running back in the league. And the second thing that's working against you is you're the defending champ. And it's the hardest shit to do to not get jinxed as a defending champ. You're going to be on the outside looking in. You're a pretender. Todd?
Cam Newton took you to the playoffs last year. Cam Newton took you to the finals. Cam Newton won it all for you last year. But this is not last year. Cam Newton sucks a bag of dicks, and I don't know. I just don't think he's going to do it for you.
All right, well, let's move on to me, the gambling Jews. As of right now, I do put myself in the contender status. I think I have one of the strongest running back cores in the league. I think I replaced Sauter with that after Martin went down for him. Like Robbie and Pi Sauter is going to mention, I do have a hole that's waiting to be filled, not by Cam Newton, at the wide receiver. My tight end, he's going to be coming back a little bit. However, T.Y. Hilton, I think, will pick up some yardage in the absence of Wayne.
So, I mean, as long as Waylon's done filleting his own penis, we're going to go ahead and say he is a contender, but there is a glaring deficiency at wide receiver. I think that, he does have one of the deepest running back cores in this league. Hopefully he can make a move to get him to that next level. But barring that, I see him in that 3-4 seed, but you're in regardless. So
Waylon, your team reminds me a lot of mine last year. I had one RG3 carried me to the playoffs last year, and I had a lot of glaring holes as well. And I think that you're gonna sneak in just like I did and end up going deep.
There's
And-
really too much.
And I love Jimmy Graham.
Well, you know what, Sutter, you blow me, I blow you, and that means more cum in your beard. So
There's too many glaring holes,
So-
glory holes, hole filling. This is
and,
ridiculous.
and talk about gangbang. There's no gangbang without Tony Romo. And as long as Sutter, you have Tony Romo, and I do think that he's going to produce this year, I put you as a contender. Easy said.
That's it.
Yep, that's it.
All right. Well, Todd had the greatest three-headed running back core we've seen all season until Doug Martin went down last week with a torn labrum. Sorry. But either way, it doesn't matter. He's probably out for most of our season. So, with that being said, Vincent Jackson has to carry him at the receiving position. Other than that, I think that Todd's a contender, and we'll see him in the postseason.
Doug Martin filled one of my holes when he bent me over a barrel and showed me the 50 states and got hurt. And Tony Romo's going to shit the bed, and I think I'm a pretender. I don't think I'm going to make it.
The reverse jinx from Todd.
So let's talk about our missing intern this week, which I wouldn't mind having back at some point, Mr. Chris Strack. Chris, as long as you have Peyton Manning, I think that you'll be a contender. However, you will need to trade RG3 in order to beef up your entire team. So, with that being said, you are a contender.
What do you think about Chris?
Contender.
Contender. Strack,
Reverse jinx.
there was a trade that happened actually tonight while doing this video that Strack is trading Hakeem Nicks for James Jones with Todd Sauter. I think it's a couple of average players at best, so it's not really going to help or hurt you. But you did pull one on Kyle last week. You're a contender, but I think you may be kind of one and done if they rest Peyton Manning at the end of the season because you will not have a solid quarterback that's giving you 35 points a game.
So we move on to our last team. Would have to be Matt. Matt, I think that you have one of our strongest teams in the league, definitely a top three. Part of that reason is because you have Rodgers is dominating, and you have the connection Rodgers to Nelson, which I think has replaced that Brady to Welker, which kind of is a good point production. So
Absolutely. I mean, Matt's team, I kind of want to kick myself for ranking him so low in the preseason
I do too.
because looking at his team now, he definitely has the pieces to be the first repeat champion in this league. He's in the top 6 for sure. He's going to be in the postseason. We'll see you there, Matt.
Matt, I think you're hot, and I think you continue to bukkake on everybody's face.
Well, with that being said, Sauter's ready for a gangbang, and we'll see who's a pretender and contender for the rest of the season. And like we always say,
If you're winning, it's fantasy. If you're losing, it's fake. We'll see you in week 9.